I know he meant so much to you, and he was following in your footsteps, and you can talk about it in the film, but how did his death change your life?
Well, you know, I'm not sure I've accepted it yet, but it just made my life, you know, the thing that nobody understands is we say like he died on my watch. In other words, he was with me. The hospital called 911 and they came and you know, they always ask you to leave the room for a minute, and I went out in the hall just assuming they'd come out and say, you know, either we have to helicopter him, which we've done before, to a bigger facility, or you know, we need to take him in an ambulance for sure. And he came out and said he didn't make it, Rick. That was tough. He didn't make it, Rick.
Have an ambulance en route to that. Hello?
Medic, we're en route.
Okay.
He was saying, the only thing he said to me before he transferred over to is that his son was dying and he's turning purple.
Okay. We've got an ambulance going too.
Alright, cool.
Thanks.
Yep, bye.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Today here I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a quiet little suburb called South Park. And I'm doing a video about Ric Flair. A lot of you probably remember the name Ric Flair. If you're passing interest in wrestling, he's still around. He's retired now. He's been around for a long time. When I was a kid, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, they were the huge ones. Ric Flair was in a different organization called the WCW, but we still knew about him, the legendary Ric Flair. And here in Charlotte, he is a hero. He is big time. He is very well known, and he had a son who was a wrestler named Reid Flair. Tragically, Reid passed away right here, right in that room right up there. And I'm going to show you the grounds, go up to the room, and then we're going to visit his grave where he's laid to rest. Not too far from here, actually. And accompanying me today, two people you may recognize that have been on my channel before if you've seen it. Randy, Big Bake on the Move is his channel. And Rayan from Nerd Locations on Instagram. Now, Rayan, you're a native of Charlotte.
Yep.
And Ric Flair, for legend, right?
Legendary. Ric Flair was the mayor here, basically.
Right.
The unofficial mayor of Charlotte.
Right.
Everybody loves Rick here.
And Randy, you do videos like Me True Crime, things like that. So you know the story of Reid Flair. And you know who Ric Flair, of course, was, but you know the story of Reid Flair too.
Yes, so me and Scott, we have a lot of the same upbringing in wrestling. You know, Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, those same guys, man. You know, that's where my interests lie when I was younger, and of course, everybody knew who Ric Flair was.
Right. Now, what I wanted to add was I have pictures of when I was little. When I met Randy Savage, my father took me to meet all the wrestlers from WWF. So I got to various trade shows, things like that, and then backstage at the Maple Leaf Gardens growing up, and got to meet Randy Savage. And I literally asked him, this is a true story, because not a lot of people who follow the WWF is huge. They were our rock stars back then, but not a lot of people knew who Ric Flair was, because he was in a different conference. But I followed every type of wrestling. I was obsessed. And I went to Randy Savage and I said, Mr. Savage? He said, yes. And I said, who would win in a fight between, I probably said, can I ask you something? But I said, who would win in a fight between Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair? Because Ric Flair was known as the biggest wrestler not in the WWF. And he paused, he looked at me, took down his glasses, he said, gotta go with my man Hulkster on that one. So Randy Savage chose Hulkster over Ric Flair. But Ric Flair, I mean, the guy's a real good technical wrestler, right? That's what he's known for. He wasn't a huge guy. Not a big guy.
Known for the chest slap, wasn't he?
The chest slap?
Big hands, man. He had huge hands. Yeah.
And the woo. I can't do it. I don't have the can't hit that high note. But he did the woo, right?
Ric Flair used to do 60-minute matches, and they called them 60-minute Broadways. And Hogan was known for 5-minute matches. So, and Ric Flair wrestled for Jim Crockett Promotions, which was based out of Charlotte, right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's why you probably got that answer. They wanted to represent for the WWF, but everybody knows Jim Crockett ruled.
Right. So yeah, Randy Savage probably exactly right. You're right. He was just, because it was WWF, but they were close friends, Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. So he probably went with Hulk.
And Rick did wrestle for a little while in the WWF.
Yeah, it was short-lived.
Yeah, just for a little while.
He
won the Survivor Series.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which year, but he won the Survivor Series.
So Ric Flair had 4 kids.
4 kids. David, Reid, Charlotte Flair, who it's what you know her by in WWF, and Megan.
Megan, right. And Reid was his youngest?
I'm not sure if he was his youngest, but Reid was the one that was going after being like his dad the most.
Right.
Like he was trying to be a wrestler. He was a champion high school wrestler, known across the country for being a great high school wrestler. And then he did a stint in Japan where he was, on the upswing, and I think he was just getting a shot at being in the WWF.
Right.
When he passed away.
And what Randy and I were looking at this morning was crazy, because we read that he had his first fight at 10 years old, and you said that's got to be wrong. I said,
we looked it up. I couldn't.
Absolutely, yeah. But he would have easily made it to the WWF. He had the talent, he had the look, he had the thing his dad had. He was on his way.
Right.
He was on his way.
But like a lot of wrestlers, and Randy and I were talking about this, troubled life somewhat.
Yeah, he was in and out. I don't know how much we want to go into this on a story like this, but he was in and out with drugs, and I think he had some DUIs, and he was kind of plagued by issues like that.
Assault and battery charges, a couple of DUIs,
Yeah.
But he passed away right here in this room, and Ric Flair actually was the one that found him, correct?
Yeah, Ric Flair. I don't know if Rick was staying here with him, but Rick found him.
Yeah.
Which is, I can't imagine how crazy that is for a father to find his son. But yes, right here in this hotel, 6th floor.
So the drugs he had in his system were alprazolam, clonazepam, and heroin. 2 of the tranquilizers, the alprazolam and the clonazepam. That's the room right there. That's the 6th floor.
Yes.
Right? And 911 calls.
Yes, I don't know if Scott's going to put that in the video. Sometimes he doesn't do the 911 actual audio, probably won't. But it's a hysterical call when Rick first makes the phone call. Like any parent, man, I'm a parent, and it's hysterical.
He's very distraught. It's hard to listen to. They are on YouTube, and he, the hotel called first, and then he called again from the room, and he's saying, "My son is purple, my son is cold," and he's distraught.
He walked in and found him.
He doesn't understand why the hotel, why they're not already here, because the hotel already called.
Yeah.
But I think, as you and I were talking yesterday, Rain, I think at some point during the 911 call, Ric Flair kind of almost calms down, and it seems like he realizes there's no saving his son.
Yeah, I think you can hear in his voice that he realized the reality of what was going on, and just kind of sink in. And it's heartbreaking to listen to. I mean, you listen to that 911 call, and if you know anything about that guy, you realize just how destroyed he was.
Right.
And it's devastating.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna walk this way and go into the hotel, show you the room, and then come right back to meet these guys.
He went back to his room, and of course, I've seen him 1,000 times. He was messed up, but I've seen him like that, and I had do I call the police again? This would be the 8th or 9th time they've been over, or 911. I mean, when ambulance comes, so come the police. So I said, no, I'm just going to tuck him in bed and wake up in the morning and try and figure out what went wrong again, which I've done. Which I had been doing for 5 years, and so I woke up and he was purple, which I've seen before when we called the hospital, called 911, and
I've already called 911. The hotel has.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
What room number are you in?
Was that 617? 617. 617.
it's a very, very difficult experience in life for anybody, and I can sympathize with anybody that's had, really sympathize with anybody that's had that kind of circumstance to live under or live with.
And here we are back on the outside. So it's a Residence Inn, and that was the room. All right, guys, so we're gonna make a quick little drive over to the cemetery, pay our respects to Reid Flair, and maybe talk a little bit more about him, and I'll show some pictures and stuff. Sad seeing this place, huh?
It is.
When you know, 25 years old? 25, right?
Yeah.
Just turned 25, just turned 25, like a month or so.
Young.
It's still way too young, far too young. I'm fighting those demons. 2 years later, when his sister was wrestling, we were talking about this earlier. She was wrestling someone named Paige in the WWE, and Paige said, like, in the ring,
yeah, totally unannounced. The organization didn't know she was going to do it. They came out later to that she said your brother didn't have much fight in him after all.
right?
Yeah, it was kind of a crappy move on her part.
And Ric Flair didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
The mother of Reid tweeted out that how disgusting that was.
Yeah.
And then Ric Flair said it put his daughter in a very bad position because she had no clout in the WWE at the time she was on her way up, and she couldn't really complain or she couldn't really file a grievance because it's not the way things work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the WWF, they've been known over the years, and Vince McMahon has even had a policy of nothing's off limits. And even though it was tasteless and classless, it doesn't. Nobody who followed that organization was surprised that they went there to create all the heat to wrestle Charlotte. But you know, going back to the wrestling thing with Charlotte, she's dedicated her whole career to Reid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she basically said, "I'm doing this for Reid. I'm going as far as I can for Reid," because you know, and there's a match. I think when she first won the title, she was crying, and it was all in dedication to Reid. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's go visit Reid.
Nope.
If I could buy myself a conscience that wasn't broken, mend every fence I drove my hard head through, relock all the doors I wish I'd never opened, unlearn the things I wish I never knew. Then it came out through the bottle, came out through my fears, came out way too early, wish it never did. I push it down, it comes out sideways. I push it down, it comes out sideways. And bitter roads turn into highways. I push it down, it comes out sideways, sideways.
right, so we're staying here, Sierra Memorial Park, and we just visited the grave. And in case you're wondering about the song that I played coming in, that was Rayan.
That was me.
That was Rayan's song called Push It Down, right?
That's right.
So if people want to find it, they can listen to it here, and then maybe you'll upload it something on your channel at some point.
Yeah, sometime.
If you like the song, I love that song. Beautiful. So that's the story of Reid Flair, Ric Flair's son. Thanks for coming along, guys. Sad topic. Always tragic. All right. Look at this. Boom. All right. Rest in peace, Reid Flair. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.